I was a subscriber before, but then the more you explain yourself, the more you are exposing your true identity. This is one of the many similar comments under Nas Daily's recent video, titled, "It's Time to Speak Out." In this nearly 27-minute video, Nas went over the major controversies he's faced over the years and tried to show his side of the story.
In this video, I'm going to do the unthinkable. I'm going to discuss every controversy I've had on YouTube, from Israel to crypto to Philippines to all that stuff.
He was likely hoping that this would clear his name and help him move past the flood of hate he's been receiving for the past few years. But it completely backfired, making him lose the little reputation he had left with the YouTube community. Hi, I'm the InternetAnarchist. I create weekly YouTube documentaries, and today we'll be going over Nas Daily's poor attempt at redemption. And as you'll see throughout this video, it's hard to believe that he thought any of this was a good idea. To fully understand the situation, I highly recommend you watch my last video on the downfall of Nas Daily, but here's a super quick recap of what we went over. Starting in 2016, Nas spent the next 5 years building a loyal fan base of millions of viewers who were excited to see every video he posted. He began with a video series on Facebook in which he uploaded a minute-long video every single day while traveling around the world.
Here's the idea. Once a day, I'm gonna make one video that's 1 minute long. That's it. In New York City, off to Egypt today, Kenya, Ethiopia, India, then Nepal, then Japan, then all the way to San Francisco, and then back home to New York City.
And this was fairly successful. This series lasted thousands of days until January 2019 and resulted in his Facebook page gaining over 12 million followers. He then moved on to YouTube and started making longer videos on any topic he thought his viewers would find interesting. From a real-life Tarzan.
The guy you see next to me is the real-life version of Tarzan, except this one is even more interesting. Thank you!
To the depressing state of life in North Korea.
And as soon as we were in the clear, I cried. I cried for the people there. There is no solution for the average North Korean. Their country is and will remain a prison.
And this strategy worked, propelling Nas to become one of the most successful creators on the platform with over 13 million subscribers, and as many views as there are people on Earth. However, it wasn't long before things started going downhill for Nas. Ever since 2021, Nas has faced numerous controversies, including exploiting the world's oldest tattoo artist, Wang Od, for profit, being racist against Filipinos, presenting scammer crypto billionaires as saints, trying to present himself as empathetic to both sides in the Israel-Palestine conflict when in reality he doesn't care about either, disrespecting Islam and its teachings in a video titled "I studied Islam for 1 month and I lost all my hair," and much, much more. The backlash from these controversies has left his career in a pitiful state. His videos went from getting millions of views to struggling to cross the 100,000 mark. More importantly, he's lost the love and support of his viewers. At one point, the comment section under his videos was filled with people praising his content, with a person even writing, "I'm much obliged to Nas for inspiring videos, giving the light of goodness in everyone's heart. Watching him, I wish that this channel would reach to every individual sharing this land." When fast forwarding to today, things couldn't be more different. Many of the comments under his videos are calling him things like a narcissist, with comments reading, "Damn, what a narcissist. All I can think is narcissist. So full of himself, what a narcissist," and urging him to admit his fault, with one comment simply reading, "Please accept that you're in the wrong." Not to mention the like to dislike ratio on his newer uploads, which is completely abysmal. Now, Nas has responded to some of these controversies in the past, with social media posts, and even a 6-minute video talking about the backlash he received from the Philippines.
Over the past week, there has been a lot of fake news about Nas Daily. Nas Daily is a liar. Nas Daily hates the Philippines. That's why today, I want to talk about Nas Daily in the Philippines.
However, instead of apologizing for his actions, or even presenting proof of why the allegations against him were fake, he just talked about how he likes making videos about the Philippines and its people. And as you might expect, this did not go over well, with one comment on Facebook reading, "All these posts and not a single apology. Instead, it's a whole lot of 'I came to your country, you all should be grateful.' That's some gaslighting colonizer energy right there." Above all, what frustrated his Filipino viewers the most was his inability to hold himself accountable, with another person writing, "You keep saying you love the Philippines and you love the Filipinos, but as I watched your video, all I could say is that you don't really know us. It would be much better to start your video by apologizing. But what you did was to brag about what you did to the Philippines as if we owe it to you. What's worst is that you admit at one point that you made a mistake, but never apologize for it. If you know you're wrong, best start by apologizing. And please stop meddling in our politics. I don't like hearing it from a person who cannot even speak for his own country." So when he uploaded a video addressing his many controversies on the 19th of December 2024, some of his long-term viewers were cautionally optimistic. They were hoping that he would learn from his past blunders, show growth as a person, and own up to his mistakes. Unfortunately, they couldn't have been more wrong. This was a terrible response from Nas, which reflected clearly in the horrible like-to-dislike ratio of the video, getting 8 times more dislikes than likes. Instead of offering a genuine apology, this turned out to be a self-serving ego boost, something that was apparent from the first second of the video, when Nas equated the wave of criticism against him as a major crisis for YouTube as a whole.
Okay, something terrible is happening on YouTube, and I'm gonna talk about it. No one is talking about it, and I think it's time.
But this wasn't even the weirdest bit, because soon after that, he tried to dismiss all of the accusations by implying that people only think badly of him because he's successful.
We think that everybody that succeeds is evil. I don't know why we think that. But if somebody succeeds on YouTube or in the world, if they become a billionaire or if they become very successful or become a politician, then automatically they're evil. And I don't quite get why that is.
He then went on a tangent talking about how great he is, saying that he was an underdog who, quote, worked like a donkey to get where he is now, and that thanks to his hard work, he's built a company that earns millions of dollars with over 100 people working under him. Put simply, Nas thought it would be a good idea to boast about his fame and fortune during what's supposed to be a sincere apology, but that wasn't even as bad or more self-serving than the label he chose for himself.
I ended up deciding that I'm going to make something out of nothing. And I'm gonna turn my life from being the underdog to becoming a hero. I went from underdog to hero.
And this wasn't a one-off thing. He kept referring to himself as a hero for the rest of the video.
With more than 15 million followers on YouTube, 22 on Facebook, 5 on Instagram, remember this quote: "You either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain." And this is now the video to talk about the villain chapter. Remember, there's 3 chapters so far: underdog, hero, and now villain.
No matter how high quality their videos might be, the idea of any YouTuber declaring themselves as a hero for just covering random topics is downright ridiculous, and Nas seems completely oblivious to it, which only highlights the depths of his internalized narcissism and unchecked ego. Viewers, of course, were more than happy to give him a reality check, with comments reading, "Stop uploading videos already, geez, who do you have ever thought of you as a hero?" And even Superman never called himself a hero. And as some of you might have noticed, we're just in the intro of this video, and we haven't touched on his response to the countless controversies yet. But as you might expect, those aren't any better either. After spending 7 minutes and 42 seconds calling himself an underdog hero, and talking about the time Al Jazeera labeled him as potentially sponsored by the Israeli government, Nas finally got to his first big controversy: the exploitations of Apo Wang Od. Now, for those of you who don't know, Nas made a video featuring the oldest tattoo artist in the world back in July of 2021.
In the jungles of the Philippines, there is a woman who is 103 years old. She is the oldest tattoo artist in the world, and she doesn't use a tattoo machine, and she doesn't let you choose your own tattoo.
And while the video itself was pretty standard, the controversy emerged from its description, which read, "For today's video, we flew all the way to the highlands of the Philippines to bring you this story. And what's even better is that we convinced Wang Od to become a teacher. So she's now officially teaching on Nas Academy." But as it turns out, Nas never got Wang Od's permission to feature her work as a course on his online academy website. In his recent video, Nas tried to dismiss the whole thing by claiming that the controversy only happened because one of Wang Od's relatives was jealous and feeling left out.
It wasn't the person we worked with that was angry. It was her cousin, because she wasn't part of the deal. And of course, if you're not part of the deal, you feel left out, and so you have to feel like something's wrong. But the actual person we worked with was happy.
Firstly, if this is true, then why didn't the person who actually worked with Nas speak out about this cousin for spreading misinformation? Secondly, if this whole thing was a lie in the first place, why were there reports of him sending his team back to the Philippines to fix the issue after he received the backlash? Nas failed to address both of these critical questions in his response before moving on to the next controversy, and once again, his response to that was just as empty. For some background, a day after the Wang Od controversy broke out, another Filipino woman named Louise Mabalu came out with some more serious accusations against Nas as well. You see, Louise created the Cacao Project. It's a non-profit aimed at fighting deforestation by providing better support and education to the farmers. And Nas was interested in making a video about it. According to Louise, Nas actually met her and filmed the project, but he didn't release the final video because he didn't think it would get enough views. And while this was enough to destroy Nas's claims of just making videos to spread good messages and positivity in the world, it was Louise's second accusation that caused the real storm. Apparently, while Nas was filming her project, he had some nasty racist stuff to say about Filipinos, like, quote, "farmers are so poor," and, quote, "why are Filipinos so poor?" And just like with the Wang Od controversy, Nas does not address the core issue in his recent video. He gives excuses for why he didn't release the video, claiming that the project wasn't what he thought it was.
I arrived there and I realized it's not for profit, it's for profit. It's all for profit, and it is like not as truthful as it shows on the internet. So I said, I am not going to do this video. I am sorry, but this is fake news.
But he remained silent about the remarks he allegedly made that many had described as deeply racist. By now, a pattern is beginning to emerge in this video. He mentions a controversy, doesn't talk about the actual issue people had with it, and moves on. And as you might imagine, he does the same thing when talking about his promotion of crypto billionaires. In November of 2021, and later in May of 2022, Nas made videos revolving around two different crypto billionaires, Sam Bankman-Fried and Changpeng Zhao. Both of them later turned out to be huge scammers, especially Sam Bankman-Fried, who received a fine of over $11 billion and is also serving 25 years in prison for scamming his customers. In response to these videos, Nas claims that he didn't know that they were scammers.
Yeah, even governments gave this person money, so nobody knew, including Nas Daily, but for some reason, Nas Daily was the one to pay the price.
And while this is true, it dodges the real issue people had with those two videos. It wasn't that he featured people who later turned out to be scammers, but that he presented them as literally the most heroic and charitable people in the world.
Okay, the guy you see next to me is the most generous billionaire in the world, and I found him.
Hi, my name is Sam, and this is my story.
Sam has crazy hair. Sam is vegan. Sam sleeps 5 hours a night. Sam lives in the Bahamas with 10 roommates. Sam is 29 years old only, but Sam has $22 billion. And he wants to donate all of it to charity.
And before he even attempted to answer why he was showering so much praise on two people he barely knew, he quickly moved on to the last major controversy he wanted to address, the Palestine-Israel conflict. Nas, once again, tried to portray himself as a true neutralist, someone who just wants peace.
And so Nas Daily's job is, no matter what happens, we're always looking for peace, for two states, for two people.
And just like the last time he made the same argument, people saw it as a self-serving attempt to trivialize such a complex matter, especially because Nas says that he wants peace, but he never adds to the discussion of how this peace could be theoretically achieved. So for most people, it's just empty lip service. And while he failed to properly address any of the controversies we've discussed so far, at least he included them in his video. However, there are many other controversies he didn't even bother mentioning. like the time he admitted to taking money for some videos without disclosing the sponsorship to his viewers.
Sometimes we get a brand deal in which I have to go on the spot for one full day and make a video about a person. So
Oh, wow.
those take full days.
Interesting. So sometimes the characters that are in your video are actually paid sponsorships.
Yeah, sometimes, yes.
Do you say that in the video?
So it's actually like less than 3% of the content. And we do not say that because, well, one, in the post, it's when we say thank you to XYZ, blah, blah, for making this possible. Two, it's like we don't live in America. So you don't actually have to say it.
Oh.
Or the time he spread misinformation about Islam and its practices.
For the first time in my life, I shaved my head completely just to make a point.
Okay, this was a bit random, but why would you shave your head to make a point? And especially if you say this to a Muslim's thinking, huh? We shave our heads after pilgrimage because this was an act of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and this is something that we replicate. And you should also know the importance of intention, that the intention has to be correct for it to be accepted by God, not doing it to make a point.
All things considered, his attempt at clearing his name was a complete failure, but from the looks of things, he doesn't really care. A few days after his response to the controversies, he uploaded a video titled "Why 2024 Was the Best Year of My Life," in which he talks about how great his life has been going and how his businesses are generating millions in revenue. And while there is nothing inherently wrong with this video, its timing makes it a bit sus. Think of it this way, Nas uploading this right after his half-ass attempt to address the backlash he's been getting from the YouTube community feels like an easy way to say, quote, "Look how successful I am despite all the criticism and backlash I've been getting for the past few years." Now, this might seem like a stretch to some, but as I was working on this video, Nas changed the title of his response from "It's time to speak out" to "Why I ended my career," which feels like a passive-aggressive way of mocking the people who are poking holes in his lackluster response. Or maybe he just wanted to make a harmless joke, which could have been the case if not for the fact that he's also been copyright claiming smaller creators for discussing his video, even when their use of his content clearly qualifies as fair use. With a tweet from Adrox reading, "I need your help. Nas Daily copyrighted my video on him for a 30-second clip that falls under fair use. I credited him properly, but now he's silencing a small YouTuber for just giving criticism. All the revenue goes to him. This man can't take criticism anymore." At Team YouTube. He likely wants to suppress the criticism, or maybe he's just going on an ego trip, bullying smaller creators to regain a sense of control. No matter his intentions, Nas cannot escape the reality that he has irreversibly damaged the little reputation he had left with his audience. It's gotten to the point where the only people who are still watching his content are the ones who want to see him fail. The comment section on his 2024 updated video, for example, is filled with people saying things like, "I just came here to read the comments," and "Just put the fries in the bag, lil dude." At the end of my last video on Nas Daily, I said that it's possible for him to make a comeback if he's willing to completely rebrand himself and start over from scratch. But after watching his terrible response to criticism and refusal to take accountability, I don't think there's any way for him to crawl out of the deep hole he's dug for himself anytime soon.